What if I told you that the engine many experts believed was dead has suddenly returned, and this time, it could completely change the future of cars? While the world is racing toward electric vehicles, Mazda may have been quietly working on a technology that nobody expected. Could this new rotary engine challenge EVs, or is it simply too good to be true? Stay with us until the end, because the final reveal might completely change how you see the future of driving. For many car lovers, the rotary engine is more than just a piece of engineering. It is a symbol of creativity, bold thinking, and Mazda's willingness to do things differently. While almost every car company followed the same path by building traditional piston engines, Mazda chose a completely different road. That decision made the company famous around the world. But then, something happened. The rotary engine slowly disappeared from showrooms. Many people believed its story had ended forever. Car experts called it outdated. Some even said it had no place in the future of transportation. As electric vehicles became more popular, it looked like the rotary engine had become nothing more than a memory. But was that really the end? Or was Mazda secretly preparing something much bigger? Today, that's exactly what we're going to uncover. To understand why Mazda's latest announcement has created so much excitement, we first need to go back in time. More than 50 years ago, most car engines worked in almost the same way. Pistons moved up and down inside cylinders, creating power to move the car. It was a proven design, and almost every manufacturer trusted it. Mazda, however, wanted to stand out. Instead of improving the same old engine, the company invested years into developing a completely different system known as the rotary engine. Unlike normal engines, the rotary engine didn't use pistons moving up and down. Instead, it used a small triangular-shaped rotor that spun smoothly inside a specially designed chamber. This unique movement allowed the engine to produce power in a very different way. The result was something that felt exciting. The engine was smaller, lighter, and capable of producing impressive performance for its size. This made Mazda cars feel fast, smooth, and fun to drive. It wasn't just another engine. It became part of Mazda's identity. Models like the RX-7 and later the RX-8 became legendary among driving enthusiasts. Even today, these cars are remembered as some of the most exciting sports cars ever built by Mazda. People loved the sound. They loved the smooth power delivery. Most of all, they loved the fact that Mazda dared to be different. But every great story has its challenges. And the rotary engine was no exception. Although it delivered exciting performance, it also came with serious problems. Compared to traditional engines, rotary engines burned more fuel. They also produced higher emissions, making it harder to meet strict environmental rules introduced by governments around the world. On top of that, maintenance could sometimes be more expensive, especially if owners didn't take proper care of the engine. As fuel prices increased and emission laws became stricter, these weaknesses became impossible to ignore. One by one, companies started focusing on cleaner and more efficient technologies. Mazda faced a difficult decision. Should it continue investing in a unique engine that was becoming harder to sell? Or should it move on like everyone else? In the end, reality won. When production of the RX-8 ended, the rotary engine quietly disappeared from Mazda's lineup. For many fans, it felt like saying goodbye to an old friend. Some believed they would never see another rotary-powered Mazda again. And honestly, it seemed like they were right. Around the same time, the entire automotive industry was changing faster than ever before. Electric vehicles were no longer just experimental projects. They were becoming serious competitors. Companies like Tesla proved that battery-powered cars could be fast, practical, and desirable. Soon, almost every major automaker announced plans to build more electric vehicles. Billions of dollars were invested in battery technology. Charging networks expanded. Governments introduced new rules encouraging cleaner transportation. The message seemed clear. The future belonged to electric cars. Many experts believed traditional engines would slowly disappear. Even famous sports car manufacturers started talking about electric performance models. Looking at all these changes, it seemed impossible that a company would even think about bringing back an old engine design. Especially one that many people had already written off. But this is where Mazda surprised everyone. Instead of completely forgetting the rotary engine, Mazda continued researching it behind the scenes. The company didn't simply want to repeat the past. Its engineers asked an important question. What if the rotary engine could be improved instead of abandoned? That single question opened the door to years of quiet development. Rather than building the same engine again, Mazda explored new materials, better engineering techniques, and smarter ways to reduce its biggest weaknesses. The goal wasn't just nostalgia. The goal was innovation. Mazda believed that the rotary engine still had qualities that made it special. Its compact size. Its lightweight design. Its smooth operation. These advantages had never disappeared. The real challenge was solving the problems that had held it back. And according to recent developments, Mazda may finally be getting closer to that goal. This unexpected move has caught the attention of car enthusiasts all over the world. Some believe the rotary engine could become a valuable partner to modern technologies. Others think it might help solve problems that today's electric vehicles still face. But there are also many skeptics. They argue that no matter how much Mazda improves it, the automotive world has already moved on. So who's right? Has Mazda truly created something that could shake up the industry? Or is this simply one last attempt to bring back a legendary name? Before we answer that question, we need to take a closer look at Mazda's newest rotary technology. Because what the company has been developing is very different from the rotary engine most people remember. Before we continue, tell us in the comments, if you had to choose today, would you buy a modern rotary-powered Mazda or a fully electric car? We'd love to hear your opinion. In the next chapter, we'll explore exactly how Mazda's new rotary engine works, and why engineers believe it could be unlike anything we've seen before. When most people hear the words rotary engine, they immediately think of the legendary RX-7 or the RX-8. They imagine the unique engine sound, high RPMs, and thrilling driving experience. But here's something many people don't know. Mazda isn't simply bringing back the old rotary engine. Instead, the company has spent years rethinking almost every part of its design. Engineers didn't want to repeat old mistakes. They wanted to answer one simple question. Can we keep everything people loved about the rotary engine while fixing the problems that nearly killed it? That question became the starting point for one of Mazda's most interesting engineering projects in years. And the answer might surprise you. To understand what's new, let's first look at what made the original rotary engine so different. Unlike a normal engine, which uses pistons moving up and down, a rotary engine works with a small triangular-shaped rotor spinning inside an oval-shaped housing. Imagine riding a bicycle. A normal engine is like pushing the pedals up and down again and again. A rotary engine is more like spinning the wheels without stopping. Because the movement is smoother, the engine creates power in a very different way. This simple design means there are fewer moving parts compared to many traditional engines. Fewer moving parts can mean smoother operation and a more compact engine. That's one of the biggest reasons Mazda never gave up on the idea. Another huge advantage is size. A rotary engine is surprisingly small. In fact, it can fit into spaces where a normal engine simply can't. This gives engineers more freedom when designing a vehicle. A smaller engine also helps improve weight distribution. Why does that matter? Because balanced weight makes a car easier to control. Drivers often notice quicker steering, better cornering, and a more enjoyable driving experience. That's exactly why Mazda sports cars became famous around the world. They didn't just drive fast. They felt alive. But if the rotary engine had so many advantages, why did it disappear? The answer comes down to three major problems. First was fuel economy. Older rotary engines used more fuel than many piston engines of similar power. Second was emissions. As environmental rules became stricter across the world, meeting those standards became increasingly difficult. And third was durability. Although many owners enjoyed years of reliable driving with proper maintenance, the engine required more care than most people expected. These challenges made it difficult for Mazda to keep selling rotary-powered cars in large numbers. Eventually, the company had no choice but to stop production. At least, that's what everyone thought. Behind closed doors, Mazda's engineers never completely abandoned the rotary engine. Instead, they started asking difficult questions. Could better materials reduce wear? Could modern electronics improve efficiency? Could smarter fuel systems make the engine cleaner? Could computers control combustion more precisely than ever before? Unlike engineers decades ago, today's teams have access to technology that simply didn't exist back then. Powerful computers can simulate thousands of engine designs before a single metal part is even built. New manufacturing methods allow tighter tolerances and higher precision. Advanced sensors can monitor the engine every second while it's running. All these improvements gave Mazda a chance to rethink the rotary engine from the ground up. One of the biggest changes is how Mazda plans to use the rotary engine. Many people expected it to return as the main engine powering the wheels. But Mazda explored another idea that caught the attention of the entire industry. Instead of driving the car directly, what if the rotary engine only produced electricity? This concept is known as a range extender. Here's how it works. The wheels are powered by an electric motor, just like in an electric vehicle. When the battery starts running low, the small rotary engine switches on. Instead of pushing the wheels, it works like a compact generator. It creates electricity that helps recharge the battery while you continue driving. This approach takes advantage of one of the rotary engine's greatest strengths. Because it's so compact, it fits easily into an electrified vehicle without taking up too much space. That gives drivers extra driving range without needing an oversized battery pack. For people who worry about finding charging stations during long trips, this idea could offer an interesting solution. But Mazda didn't stop there. The company also focused on improving combustion. Older rotary engines sometimes struggled to burn fuel as efficiently as traditional engines. With today's advanced fuel injection systems and engine management software, engineers can control the combustion process far more accurately. That means cleaner operation and better efficiency than older rotary designs. Modern cooling systems also help keep engine temperatures under better control. Improved sealing technology aims to reduce one of the rotary engine's biggest historical weaknesses. While no engine is perfect, every improvement helps move the technology forward. Another exciting area is noise and smoothness. Because the rotor spins instead of moving up and down like pistons, the engine naturally delivers smoother operation. Less vibration means a quieter and more comfortable driving experience. For passengers, that can make everyday driving feel more refined. It's a small detail. But sometimes, small details create the biggest difference. Even with all these improvements, one important question remains. Is this enough to compete with today's electric vehicles? After all, battery technology keeps improving every year. Charging stations are becoming more common. Governments continue supporting cleaner transportation. So where exactly does Mazda's new rotary engine fit into this rapidly changing world? Some experts believe it could become the perfect bridge between gasoline-powered cars and fully electric vehicles. Others argue that pure EVs will eventually make every combustion engine unnecessary. The debate is far from over. And that's exactly what makes Mazda's strategy so fascinating. Here's another interesting point. Mazda has always followed its own path. While many companies race to follow industry trends, Mazda often prefers solving problems in unique ways. Sometimes that approach works brilliantly. Sometimes it doesn't. But it almost always gets people talking. And that's exactly what's happening now. The return of the rotary engine isn't just about bringing back an old idea. It's about asking whether innovation can still surprise us in an age when many people believe the future has already been decided. If you're enjoying this documentary so far, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps us create more in-depth videos about the future of cars and automotive technology. But now comes the biggest question of all. Can this revolutionary engine actually challenge the growing dominance of electric vehicles? In the next chapter, we'll compare Mazda's new rotary technology with modern EVs, looking at performance, efficiency, driving range, real-world costs, and whether it truly has what it takes to change the future of the auto industry. Now we come to the question that has everyone talking. Can Mazda's new rotary engine really destroy the EV industry? It sounds like a shocking claim. But before we believe it, we need to separate facts from excitement. The truth is, today's electric vehicles are stronger than ever before. Companies like Tesla, BYD, Hyundai, Kia, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and many others have invested billions into electric technology. Every year, batteries become better. Charging becomes faster. Driving range keeps increasing. So if electric cars are improving so quickly, why would Mazda even think about bringing back an engine? The answer isn't as simple as you might think. Let's start with performance. One of the biggest reasons people love electric cars is instant power. The moment you press the accelerator, the car moves. There is almost no delay. This gives many EVs incredible acceleration. Some modern electric cars can go from 0 to 100 km per hour in just a few seconds. That's faster than many supercars. So where does the rotary engine fit into this picture? Here's the interesting part. Mazda isn't trying to make the rotary engine compete directly with an electric motor. Instead, the company wants both technologies to work together. The electric motor still provides the instant acceleration. The rotary engine simply helps generate electricity when needed. This means drivers can enjoy the smooth and quick response of an EV while reducing one of its biggest weaknesses. And that weakness is driving range. For many people, range anxiety is still a real concern. Imagine you're driving with your family on a long road trip. You've already driven for several hours. Suddenly, the battery level drops much faster than expected. You check your navigation system. The nearest charging station is still dozens of kilometers away. Now you have a problem. Even though charging stations are becoming more common, they still aren't available everywhere. In busy cities, this isn't usually a big issue. But in smaller towns or remote areas, finding a fast charger can sometimes be difficult. This is exactly where Mazda believes its rotary technology could make a difference. Instead of stopping for a long charging session, the small rotary engine could generate electricity and keep the journey going. For many drivers, that extra confidence could be just as important as performance itself. Now let's talk about charging time. This is another area where EV owners often have different experiences. If you have a fast charger, your battery may recharge much quicker than before. But not everyone has access to one. Many people still charge their cars at home overnight. That works perfectly for daily driving. But during long trips, waiting for the battery to recharge can still take valuable time. Mazda's range extender idea doesn't completely remove charging. However, it may reduce how often drivers need to rely on public charging stations. For people who travel long distances every week, that could be a major advantage. Of course, no technology comes without trade-offs. A range extender vehicle is more complex than a fully electric car. Instead of having only an electric motor and a battery, it also includes a combustion engine. That means more parts, more systems, and potentially more maintenance over time. Pure electric vehicles have fewer moving parts, which is one reason many owners enjoy lower routine maintenance costs. There are no oil changes, no spark plugs, no traditional exhaust system. That simplicity is one of the biggest strengths of EVs. Mazda will need to prove that its rotary system remains reliable for many years if it wants to win over customers. Fuel costs also play an important role. A fully electric vehicle usually costs much less to drive per kilometer if electricity prices are reasonable. Charging at home is often cheaper than buying gasoline. However, if electricity prices rise or public fast charging becomes expensive, that advantage may become smaller. Mazda's system still uses fuel for the rotary generator. That means drivers won't completely avoid fuel stations. But because the engine only operates when needed, and under controlled conditions, it could use fuel more efficiently than older rotary engines. The real-world savings will depend on how often the engine needs to run and how drivers use their vehicles. Then comes one of the biggest topics of all: the environment. Electric vehicles produce no tailpipe emissions while driving. That's one of the main reasons governments support them. Cleaner city air is a major goal around the world. A rotary range extender still burns fuel. Even if it's much cleaner than older engines, it cannot completely eliminate emissions. This means Mazda isn't trying to replace EVs with old technology. Instead, it may be trying to build a bridge between today's gasoline cars and tomorrow's fully electric future. For some markets, that bridge could make a lot of sense. Another important factor is cost. Building large batteries is expensive. Many electric vehicles still cost more than similar gasoline-powered cars. Although battery prices have been falling over the years, they're still one of the most expensive parts of an EV. Mazda's idea could allow manufacturers to use a slightly smaller battery while still offering long driving distances. A smaller battery could reduce weight and potentially lower production costs. If that happens, buyers might get a vehicle that's more affordable without sacrificing too much convenience. But this is only possible if Mazda can produce the rotary system efficiently and keep prices competitive. Now here's something many people forget. The future of transportation may not belong to just one technology. Think about today's roads. We already have gasoline cars, hybrid cars, plug-in hybrids, battery electric vehicles, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. Each one solves different problems. Different countries also have different needs. Some regions have excellent charging networks. Others still rely heavily on gasoline infrastructure. That's why many experts believe multiple technologies will exist together for years to come. Instead of asking which technology will completely replace the others, perhaps the better question is: which technology works best for different kinds of drivers? Someone who drives only short city trips may love a fully electric car. Someone who frequently travels hundreds of kilometers through rural areas may appreciate the flexibility of a range extender. There may not be one perfect answer for everyone. Still, the internet is full of dramatic headlines claiming that Mazda's rotary engine will destroy electric vehicles. But is that really realistic? Can one innovative engine overturn years of investment by some of the world's biggest car manufacturers? Or are these headlines simply creating excitement? The answer is more complicated than many people think. If you've learned something new so far, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We bring you in-depth documentaries about the latest cars, EV technology, and the future of the automotive world, so you never miss the next big story. Because despite all the excitement surrounding Mazda's rotary comeback, one massive challenge still remains. Can this technology survive strict emissions rules, tough competition, and changing customer expectations? In the next chapter, we'll uncover the biggest obstacles standing between Mazda's bold vision and the future of the global automotive industry. By now, one thing has become clear. Mazda's new rotary engine is not just another engine update. It's a bold idea that challenges the way many people think about the future of cars. But having a great idea is only the beginning. Turning that idea into a successful product is a completely different challenge. And this is where Mazda faces its toughest battle yet. Because in today's automotive world, building a great car isn't enough. It also has to satisfy governments, win over customers, compete with global brands, and prove itself in real-world driving. That is a very difficult task. Let's begin with the biggest obstacle of all: government regulations. Over the past decade, countries around the world have introduced much stricter environmental rules. Many governments now want fewer gasoline-powered vehicles on the road. Some have even announced plans to stop selling new gasoline-only cars within the next decade. At the same time, billions of dollars are being invested in charging stations, battery factories, and clean energy projects. This means the entire industry is moving toward lower emissions. Even if Mazda's new rotary engine is far cleaner than older versions, it still has to meet these strict standards. And those standards become tougher almost every year. For Mazda, this isn't just an engineering challenge. It's a race against time. Then comes another major obstacle: public perception. The rotary engine has loyal fans all over the world. But many people also remember its weaknesses. Some remember poor fuel economy. Others remember expensive repairs. Some believe rotary engines simply aren't reliable enough for daily driving. Whether those opinions are completely fair or not, they still exist. And changing public opinion is never easy. Mazda doesn't just need to build a better engine. It needs to rebuild trust. That may take years. Now think about the competition. Mazda isn't entering an empty market. It's competing against some of the biggest companies in the world. Tesla continues improving battery technology. BYD is rapidly expanding across international markets. Toyota is developing hybrids, plug-in hybrids, battery EVs, and even hydrogen-powered vehicles. Hyundai and Kia are launching new electric models almost every year. Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Volkswagen, and many others are investing enormous amounts of money into electrification. Some companies spend billions of dollars every year on research and development. Compared to these giants, Mazda is a much smaller company. That means every decision matters. Every investment must be carefully planned. Mazda doesn't have unlimited resources. It has to be smart. And that's exactly what has helped the company survive for decades. Instead of copying everyone else, Mazda often chooses a different path. Sometimes that strategy pays off. Sometimes it doesn't. Another challenge is customer expectations. Today's buyers expect more than ever before. They want long driving range, fast charging, low running costs, advanced safety systems, large touchscreens, smartphone connectivity, quiet cabins, over-the-air software updates, reliable batteries, affordable prices. And they want all of that in one package. Meeting every one of these expectations is incredibly difficult. Even the world's biggest manufacturers struggle to satisfy everyone. Mazda's rotary technology must fit into this modern lifestyle if it wants to succeed. There's also the question of infrastructure. In some countries, electric charging stations are becoming common. Drivers can recharge at shopping malls, offices, parking garages, and even restaurants. But in other regions, charging networks are still growing. For those drivers, a range extender vehicle could offer extra confidence. However, if charging infrastructure continues improving quickly over the next several years, that advantage may become less important. Mazda must predict what the market will look like years into the future, not just today. That's a difficult gamble. Another important issue is cost. Developing an entirely new engine is expensive. Testing it takes years. Engineers must build prototypes. Crash tests must be completed. Safety certifications are required. Production factories need new equipment. Workers require specialized training. Every step adds cost. And in the end, customers decide whether the final product is worth the price. If Mazda's rotary-powered vehicles cost too much, many buyers may simply choose a fully electric competitor instead. Finding the right balance between innovation and affordability will be one of Mazda's biggest challenges. But perhaps the greatest challenge isn't technical at all. It's psychological. For years, people have heard the same message. Electric cars are the future. That idea has become deeply rooted. Many buyers now believe that buying an EV is the smartest long-term decision. Changing that mindset won't be easy. Mazda doesn't necessarily need to convince people that EVs are bad. Instead, it must prove that there is still room for another solution. One that combines the best parts of electric driving with the flexibility of an onboard power source. If customers understand that value, Mazda could carve out a unique place in the market. History gives us an interesting lesson. Many groundbreaking technologies were doubted at first. Hybrid cars were once criticized. Today, millions of people drive them every day. Electric vehicles were once considered slow and impractical. Now they are among the fastest production cars in the world. Innovation often begins with skepticism. Only time reveals whether an idea truly changes the industry. Could Mazda's Rotary comeback follow the same path? No one knows for certain. But one thing is undeniable. The company has once again sparked a global conversation. Car enthusiasts, engineers, journalists, and industry experts are all asking the same question. Could the rotary engine have a second life? And sometimes, starting that conversation is the first sign that something important is happening. So, after looking at the technology, the competition, the regulations, and the market, one final question remains. Is Mazda really preparing the next major breakthrough in automotive history? Or is the rotary engine simply enjoying one last moment in the spotlight before electric vehicles take over completely? The answer depends on more than just engineering. It depends on customers. It depends on governments. It depends on infrastructure. And most importantly, it depends on what drivers truly want from the cars of tomorrow. In our final chapter, we'll separate hype from reality, reveal what experts believe about Mazda's future, and answer the biggest question of all. Will Mazda's new rotary engine change the future of driving, or will electric vehicles continue their unstoppable rise? After everything we've explored, we're finally ready to answer the question that brought millions of people to headlines and YouTube videos around the world. Has Mazda really created an engine that could destroy the EV industry? The short answer is, probably not. But the full story is much more interesting than a simple yes or no. Because the future of the automotive world has never been about one technology defeating another. It's about finding smarter ways to solve real problems. And that's exactly where Mazda's new rotary engine enters the conversation. Let's imagine two different drivers. The first driver lives in a large city. Every day, they drive about 30 to 40 kilometers. Their apartment has a charging station. Their office also has charging facilities. For this person, a fully electric car makes perfect sense. Charging is easy. Running costs are low. Maintenance is simple. Now imagine another driver. This person travels hundreds of kilometers every week. Sometimes they drive through remote highways. Sometimes they visit places where charging stations are still difficult to find. For them, stopping for a long charging session isn't always practical. This is where a vehicle with a rotary range extender could become a useful solution. Instead of choosing one extreme or the other, Mazda is trying to serve drivers who need a little more flexibility. And that's an important difference. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that every country is moving toward electric vehicles at the same speed. The reality is very different. Some countries already have thousands of fast chargers. Others are only beginning to build their charging networks. In some places, electricity is affordable and reliable. In others, power shortages and limited infrastructure remain serious challenges. Because of these differences, car companies cannot rely on just one solution for every market. They must adapt. Mazda understands this reality. Rather than betting everything on a single technology, the company is exploring multiple paths toward cleaner transportation. That strategy may not generate the loudest headlines, but it could prove to be a smart long-term decision. Another factor that cannot be ignored is customer choice. People buy cars for different reasons. Some care most about performance. Others want the lowest running costs. Some value reliability above everything else. Others simply want the newest technology. No single vehicle can satisfy every driver. That's why today's market already includes gasoline cars, hybrids, plug-in hybrids, battery electric vehicles, and even hydrogen-powered models. The future may look very similar. Instead of one winner, we could see several technologies working side by side, each serving different needs. Mazda's rotary engine also reminds us of something important about innovation. Sometimes the best ideas come from looking at old technologies with fresh eyes. Instead of asking, "What should we replace?" Mazda asked, "What can we improve?" That mindset has driven many of history's greatest inventions. Innovation isn't always about starting from zero. Sometimes it's about making something familiar work in a completely new way. Whether the rotary engine becomes a major success or not, Mazda deserves credit for continuing to think differently. In an industry where many companies follow the same trends, standing out requires courage. Of course, challenges still remain. Mazda must continue improving efficiency. It must prove long-term reliability. It must keep emissions low enough to satisfy future regulations. And perhaps most importantly, it must convince buyers that this technology offers real advantages over existing alternatives. None of these goals will be easy. But history has shown that the automotive industry can change very quickly. 10 years ago, many people believed electric cars would never become mainstream. Today, they are sold in almost every major market. Who knows what another 10 years could bring? There's another lesson hidden inside Mazda's story. Competition benefits everyone. When companies challenge each other, technology moves forward. Tesla pushed the industry toward electric vehicles. BYD accelerated battery innovation. Toyota transformed hybrids into everyday transportation. Now Mazda is asking a completely different question. Can a modern rotary engine still play an important role in tomorrow's vehicles? Even if the answer turns out to be only in certain situations, that knowledge could inspire future designs. Every experiment teaches the industry something valuable. So, will Mazda destroy the EV industry? Based on everything we know today, the answer is no. Electric vehicles have too much momentum. Battery technology continues improving. Governments continue supporting cleaner transportation. Manufacturers continue investing billions in electric platforms. That trend is unlikely to disappear overnight. But here's where the headline misses the real story. Mazda doesn't necessarily need to destroy the EV industry to succeed. If its rotary technology solves real problems for real drivers, it can still become an important part of the future. Success doesn't always mean replacing everyone else. Sometimes success means creating a better option for people whose needs aren't fully met. And that's exactly where Mazda could make its biggest impact. Imagine the automotive world 10 years from now. Some families may drive fully electric SUVs. Sports car enthusiasts may enjoy lightweight performance cars powered by advanced hybrid systems. Commercial vehicles might rely on hydrogen. And somewhere in between, Mazda's rotary-powered range extenders could quietly help millions of drivers travel farther with greater confidence. The future doesn't have to belong to just one idea. It can belong to the best combination of ideas. And that's what makes this story so exciting. As we reach the end of today's documentary, one thing is certain. Mazda has done something many people thought was impossible. It has made the world talk about the rotary engine again. Whether this bold gamble becomes a historic success or simply another fascinating chapter in automotive history, only time will tell. But one thing is clear. The race for the future of transportation is far from over. And the next breakthrough could come from the company that dares to think differently. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, make sure to watch our next video, where we uncover another incredible story from the world of cars and EV technology. Don't forget to share this video with fellow car enthusiasts, and we'll see you in the next one. Safe driving.